Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome one and all to another good morning walk. It's not raining yet, but to be honest, it does seem like it will absolutely tip it down sooner or later. Yesterday, it pretty much rained non-stop here yesterday, and I'm not gonna lie, it seems like it's going to do the same today. According to the weather forecast, we've got a 90% chance of rain. Sorry, 96% chance of rain. So it's going to rain probably at some point. It just depends when he wants to do it. Oh dear. But anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning, all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As always, to the Good Morning Walk indoors, just with a little less rain, but more rain outdoors. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like I say, good morning to Dave W., Ben Ridings, Cathal G, Prinny Bird, Susan Nicole, Mitchell and Boo. Hold on, let me see who we've got. Ben Ridings, Nick B. Reagan Lee, good morning to you. 91 Leeds, good morning to you. Cavalan 100, good morning to you. Patrick H. Martin, good morning to you. Prinny Bird, Lee Cruz, good morning. Mark Wilson, good morning. So I think that's everyone so far who's posted. Scribbly, good morning. Hello to you. But yes, like I say, do post your hellos, and good afternoons, good mornings in this case, in the chat. Like I say, come on in, have a join in with us. Remember to click on the like and share button. Like I say, it does help out, get more people in to the chat, whatnot, and we'll have a good time. So. Like I say, I was busy doing the whole social media thing, just running around. This is the thing that I hate about Threads at the moment. It doesn't yet have a desktop app, so I can't just open Threads on desktop. I've got to send the link through Facebook, then I'm going to open it up on my phone to then post it on Threads. Just such a roundabout way to have to do that stuff, but that's currently Threads. It will get better. It will get better, and they do seem to be on it with some of the stuff that is coming through it. So, welcome. Welcome as always to the Good Morning Walk. What are we going to talk about today? Well, to be honest, given those of you who've been around here long enough for the Good Morning Walk know that when we first started our Good Morning Walk series, shall we say, back in the day, almost 3 years now of the Good Morning Walk. Coming up to, I think it's anniversary soon, I think, because I think we started in August, I believe, at some point. So yeah, almost the 3-year anniversary of the Good Morning Walk. So hopefully we'll be able to do that one outside. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll remember, of course, it was Donald Trump times, and it was sort of the end of Trump's time in office. It was a whole re-election campaign, the whole, Jan 6 stuff kicked off. So we would always open up with the show with a trip across the pond to see just what was going on with good old Trumpy. And to be honest, when it comes around to November, I will probably start covering on this channel the Republican primaries, because oh boy, are those going to be fun. And we'll get into those in a minute. But for the fact that Donald Trump has three indictments against him, one for the documents, one is for I can't remember what the second one is. Is it the sexual assault? No, not the sexual assault, is it? I can't remember what the second one is for now. But the third one, of course, is the most recent one, which is, of course, the January the 6th indictment. And to say that we have gone this far with these indictments, if you are American, I will say now this is probably a really good moment for you in your democracy. um, so this is democracy at work. This is showing that your system does work. Will Trump face prison time? Even if even if one of these gets him, chances are he's going to serve some prison time. Depends how long, of course, but yeah, he will probably face some prison time. We will see the Orange Man in orange, and of course, if he does that, he will not be able to run as president. So you could have a bizarre moment, probably maybe during the Republican primaries, where Donald Trump maybe just disappears. It's yeah, it's honestly it's so strange. I mean, we're just going to go over some of this stuff, but he has lost it again. He's gone after. He's made it like a threatening post on his Truth Social, saying, "Oh, if you come after me, I'm going after you." So this happened, I think, late last night. So U.S. prosecutors have used a court filing to flag a social media post from Donald Trump, arguing that it suggests he might intimidate witnesses by improperly disclosing confidential evidence received from the government. So if he does that, if he were to actually seriously go out and do that, that is full on contempt of court and, of course, witness intimidation. And the US ain't very happy if you do things like that. But they will go down on him hard if he does that. They will go down on him super hard. But one of the good things that's actually happening because of this, because he's in all these legal troubles, he is losing money hand over fist. There's this rumor going around that he's even had to transfer money that's meant to be used for his campaigning into his legal defense for all three of these cases. And if that's the case, then Trump, you remember, I think we discussed this before, but you need money if you're going to be in this race. And if Trump doesn't have the money, he's going to find it very, very hard to compete against his fellow other competitors. Even with obviously the name and the fact that you've still got 30% of the Republican Party backing him. Yeah, it's very interesting at the moment. Yeah, U.S. presidential election. One with the mind of the 3-year-old versus the one with the mind of 150-year-olds. No one better. To be honest, I think a lot of people have said this. The U.S. at the moment is in a state of political transition. That the old Republican guard is at the end of their tenure, as is the Democrat sort of tenure sort of coming to an end, and then should be handing over to the next generation. And I think the Democrats are going to have a lot more smoother transition. But the thing is, the Republicans, who are they handing over to? Who are they handing over to? No, they're handing over to people like Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, all these absolute crazies, these absolute crazy lunatics that they are potentially going to hand over to. And there's rumors flying around at the moment. You saw, I think it was it a couple of weeks ago? Mitch McConnell tried to do a speech, and he went out to the podium, and he just stood there and he froze. He like tried to do this speech, but he just stood there and froze. And there's rumor going around that these Republicans are desperate to hang on as long as they can so that they can maybe try and get rid of these people and get some better people in. But to be honest, given what happened to McConnell, I don't think they have a lot of time left. I really don't think they have a lot of time left. Christine Cash, good morning to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Good morning to you. Well, you've got probably Trump in your state in probably a couple of days, apparently, I think, because he's going to be facing yet another charge there. So that could be the fourth one. That could be very much the fourth one. Get pretty bird. Yeah, I'm not sure it's legal for Trump to use campaign money for legal defense as well. Exactly. Exactly. This is it. There's all this stuff going flying around that his campaign funds are being drained significantly because of this, and it's not just him. Yeah, we've talked about DeSantis, and to be honest, DeSantis is like a slightly more competent Trump, which is kind of terrifying. But he on the campaign trail is being shown himself that he is not likable. There's the bizarre moment we've had recently where he interacts with a bunch of children, and it just comes off looking really, really weird, and it looks really uncomfortable interacting with these people. There's a ton of stuff coming out about if you followed anything that's gone on Florida, people sort of highlighting what's going on in Florida, how bad like the Florida Republican legislature, and this is the kind of stuff that DeSantis wants to bring out and roll out nationally. Uh, he's going to get a lot of pushback, and he's failing massively in the polls. His big donors have left him. Like his big donors have just abandoned him, so he's losing money hand over fist as well. But the dark horse, and I will say this, the dark horse in all of this is Chris Christie. He was the Republican governor for is it New Jersey? I think. Was it New Jersey? I think it was New Jersey. But he was at one point very much like DeSantis. He was the governor that was going to become president one day. But he got caught up in a load of scandals himself. Good morning, Tim. Good morning to you. So he got caught up in a load of scandals himself. And there was the big one, there was like a bridge scandal, I think, or something like that he got caught up in. So this completely torpedoed his chances. And in fact, he ran at the same time as Trump. And Trump absolutely laid into him. Like, he laid into him. And some of the most funniest stuff from at that time was Trump just laying into like Chris Christie. But seems that after that, of course, Chris Christie then went to he did like most of the Republicans and kissed the ring. But then I think Trump got rid of him or something like that very, very early on. So Christie has been like, sharpening his axe all this time, waiting for his moment. And he is the one at the moment who is getting all this money. Like all the big donors that were supporting DeSantis are apparently going to Chris Christie. He's got donations coming in. But his big moment is coming up because he's openly said, I'm going to go after Trump hard. And there's a fantastic video where he's going after Trump, laying out the fact that he was an awful president. Oh, you say he was a good president? Well, actually, this, and this happened under his watch. How was he a good president? So we'll see what happens with that strategy. Let's see if I can find that actually. Let's see if we can find that. Is this it? Oh, hold on a second. Oh, so yeah, let's get this up because this is another interest. This is why I'm going to be looking at covering some of the stuff that goes on in the US at the moment because it's going to be fascinating when this happens. Yeah, Pretty Bird. Yeah, Christie's the old school Republican choice. Yeah, he probably he is. I think he's the only one for having someone sane. And bear in mind, I say this, Chris Christie isn't good. Like I say, he's a Republican. He's ultimately going to do a lot of really bad stuff. But if you wanted someone to beat Trump, the chances are Christie might be your guy to beat Trump. Like I say, he's bringing in all the money. He's attracting a lot of attention. I think on the debate stage, he seems to be ready for Trump. He seems to be a lot ready than he was last time around. Christian Crash, yeah, I don't think he'll be in attendance now. Often though you thought it would be. Yeah, Trump called his wife ugly, and yet he can still phone bank for him. Oh yeah, that was it Ted Cruz, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, Ted Cruz. Talk like I say, back in the day, Republicans really didn't want Trump, and then of course he won, and then they just started kissing the ring because they were just like, "What's going on here?" The Vase of Flowers. Good morning to you. Yeah, can't muster up any enthusiasm for American politics. Yeah. At a gig last night, an American singer took a swipe at Liz Truss without mentioning her by name. Probably true. But yeah, Christie can out Trump on the debate stage, possibly. So hopefully you can hear this because this is fascinating. This is Chris Christie. I think he just announced at this moment, and this is him going after Trump. So hopefully you can hear this.
Who is obsessed with the mirror, who never admits a mistake, who never admits a fault, and who always finds someone else and something else to blame for whatever goes wrong, but finds every reason to take credit for anything that goes right, is Donald Trump. A lonely, self-consumed, self-serving mirror hog. He is, for those of you who read the Harry Potter books, like Voldemort. He is he who shall not be named. Well, let me be clear, in case I have not been already. The person I am talking.
So yeah, he has been going after Trump really hard. So these Republican debates come November could be pretty interesting to watch. Could be very, very interesting to watch, but we'll see what happens on that front. But as we said, Trump's still in trouble. Obviously, he's just had the indictment after him. Looks like he's screwing up his own defense with the post he put out, potentially going after witnesses because his post was, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." That's witness intimidation. They are not going to be. They are not going to be, shall we say, too happy that he's been doing that, and Trump hasn't helped himself. In fact, there was even I don't know if it actually happened or not. I didn't hear any follow up, but there was this whole rumor that there was a mass shooter in Washington D.C. When Trump went in to do his thing. There was this whole thing that mass shooter, and they thought that someone was coming to try and stop all this stuff for Trump. I don't know. I don't know if it found out, but there was stuff going around at the time that it was fake, that they got it wrong. But I'd never heard any follow up to it. But yeah, certainly November. Yeah, November is going to be very interesting. November is very, very going to be interesting. Well, yeah. This is another good point. Yeah, this is Christie, how he went from being really, really popular to leaving office with a 15% approval rating. Yeah, that's right, pretty. He left hard because of all those. Like I said, there was a ton of scandals around around him. I mean, let's just look some of them up. Chris Christie. So yeah, this is the bridge scandal. So apparently, according to this, it unraveled after just he had won the campaign for governor, that he closed bridge lanes into New York to retaliate against a local mayor. So that's how petty he was, that he closed bridge lanes going into one of the busiest cities in the world just to get revenge on a local mayor. That's Chris Christie. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like I say, the debates are gonna be interesting, that's for sure. So Trump is polling at 56 with Christie at 5. I'm afraid to say that Trump is still the front runner. Even DeSantis is at 16. Well, DeSantis is only at 16 because he's dropped so hard. He was apparently meant to be sort of doing quite well against Trump, but apparently not, because of all these interactions, because of all the stuff coming out about Florida. He's taken a massive nosedive. I think Christie is the dark horse in this. I think when you get to the debate stage, when you start to see these debates, I think there's just going to be so much. And Christie really seems prepared this time. Like, he seems to be really prepared against Trump this time around. He wasn't last time, but his entire plan, I think, this time is just to tear into Trump as hard as he can. And if that is his plan, going into these debates, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, these debates come this November are going to be very interesting. Tim, yeah, Mail Online has finally done something about Dan Wootton. Finally, obviously, we must say, everything out there at the moment are these allegations, but as I think Jonathan Pye posted, I saw on Threads this morning. You look at all the allegations that have come out that the right wing have freaked out about. Even if you go back a couple of months ago now, the whole recent BBC stuff with Hugh Edwards. These allegations about Dan Wootton are like 10 times worse than anything of what was alleged against Hugh Edwards. So we'll see if GB News keeps him on, but if the Mail Online are pulling him, then yeah, we'll see what happens. But this is certainly the beginning of the end. And if you start to see, if he gets arrested, oh boy, if the police come knocking, that's what we're waiting for. That's the point we're waiting for. If Wootton gets arrested, that's the point where we're like, oh boy, Wootton at that point will be finished completely. I mean, you do not go onto GB News and do this really weird Um, I don't know how many people have seen it. His really weird speech where he goes, "Yeah, I, I made errors of judgment," as he said. I think, yeah, errors of judgment where you um, again alleged blackmail. hmm, hmm, yeah, quite an error of judgment. But that's what we're waiting for Dan Wootton. When the police come calling, that's when you know it's over. Like I say, I'm waiting at the moment. Once the police come in, that's when we'll start to talk about the whole Wootton saga. But do go look at the Byline Times and their investigation into this. There's about 4 or 5 parts, I think, now into this story, and some of them are, yeah, some of them are pretty wild. But oh boy, yeah, like I say, it's all alleged at the moment, but we'll see. We'll see what happens if the police come calling. So the other thing, of course, because we were rained off, I was like, well, where else could we go? Where else could we go to get some content for you guys? And of course, where else did we have to go other than Conservative Home? um, as you may or may not know, this is Nadine Dorries, and she said that she was going to resign as an MP. And so far, she still has not resigned as an MP. Now, she has made the claim that she is staying there until she gets answers as to why she was denied a peerage, or at least that's the official reason she's given. There's a lot of conservatives around there saying, "Oh, look, she's what gone out and intends to do this at the maximum embarrassment moment." We know she's got a new book coming out called The Plot, which I've said before. Nadine Dorries lost the plot a long time ago, but apparently she's got a new book coming out where she's going to detail and unravel the dark and sinister forces that wanted to get rid of Boris Johnson. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on that, but that'll be weird. Oh, yeah, the weird moment on Question Time. We just let me see if we can find this. Oh, it's not there. Oh, I can't remember find it, but yeah, I remember that moment. Yeah, accusing people of having parties up on the roof. That was yeah. Indoor walk, you need to get miniature horses so I can join you inside. Yeah, she's still an MP. Can we start a recall petition for her? Well, unfortunately, you can't. You've got to be in a constituency to do a recall petition. But I tell you now, if I was in a constituency, oh hell yes, I'd be arguing for a recall petition. Um, that be sure. Loki's children, good morning to you. Oh, and happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Loki's children. Many happy returns. Um, so you also may remember we had Flitwick or Fleetwick. I can't remember how you pronounce it now. Fleetwick Town Council. So this is one of the crazy moments where a town council has come out and actually said against her. And bear in mind, I have asked for the minutes because I want to see what this discussion was. I want to know what this discussion was about they had about Nadine Dorries, because that will have been minuted somewhere. That conversation will have been minuted. Now I've asked. I sent an email to them asking, "Do you have the documents? Can you send them to me, or can you point me in the right direction?" So far, I haven't had anything back, which is a bit disappointing. But I did send it on the day, of course. Of this, so there might have been a lot of media requests maybe for them to deal with. Maybe they just all decided to hide under a rock that day. So that's possible. But unfortunately, I haven't had a response to that, which will be annoying. Or it'll come like a couple of months later saying, "Oh yeah, we got your request. Here they are." And by the time Nadine Dorries will have been long gone. But apparently, from what we saw from reading the minutes about the council meeting, there was a discussion about Nadine Dorries, of the fact that she had not been performing her MP duties, the fact that she had not held a surgery in the town for months, and they said, "Hey, please just go, please just go already." So even even um her a town council in her own area saying, "Please just go." But when you have Conservative Home on this um, article in particular saying, "Yeah, voters should actually help decide and be able to initiate a by-election of their own accord," I can't disagree. Can't disagree with that. Um, so yeah, that'll be indeed interesting. Pat, good morning to you as well. Is it Flitwick? No W, right? Flitwick. So Flitwick Council. Yeah, that is also true. Paying daughters as part of a constituency staff. Um, how much? How come there's almost no upset on the total waste of 37 billion on TNT? 37 billion pound, which is an incredible amount of money for a trivial software solution. 37 billion pounds in the initial budget for HS2. I don't know fully much about that, to be honest, at the moment. But we do need. This is something else that we do need better auditing systems. But that we'll go in maybe. That'll be another discussion. But like I say, we want to get on this. Good morning, Fatgasm. Good morning to you. So yeah, I want to get into this because it's very, very rare. You have how much very, very interesting to see how you sort of continue on in this situation. You'd think that even maybe Rishi Sunak might be pushing her to go, but the entire Conservative Party seems to be angry that she hasn't gone yet, but no one's pushing her to go. No one's pushing her much at all, and I think they don't want her to cause a scene essentially on their way out. So she's just, they're saying, "Hey, you need to go, Doris, but go in your own time." So yeah, this will be interesting. Let's see what they've got to say about this. So the recall procedure for MPs is lax where it should be stringent, and stringent where it should be lax. Lax because constituents cannot recall their MP of their own volition. They can only do so if given permission by the Commons Standing Committee, i.e., by MP themselves. So I actually quite agree with that. I think that if your MP is not performing, you should be given the right as constituents to recall your MP. Now, you can do what is called a recall petition, but before you even get to the recall stage, you've got to have at least enough signatures from the constituents living in that area to be able to do it. And you've got to be able to prove every single name on that list, because if someone sort of lies, the entire list is discounted. Like it gets it's pretty insane when they can just ignore and do that. But again, it's something that probably we should look at. I really do think we should do. Larry the Cat, good morning to you. In fact, because I'm off topic, I know, but what's the odds on Trump being sent to jail before next Friday? I don't know. Well, if he keeps on doing what he's doing on social media, who knows? Who knows? But back to it. So, and stringent because the signatures of a mere 10% of constituents can then trigger a by-election, thus imposing on the other 90% who may not want a contest at all. So, recall should be reformed so that first, constituents themselves can trigger a recall petition directly, but second, that a higher percentage of them than at present must demand one, say a quarter or a third. Now, I do sort of, again, I agree with him on that standard that 10% is actually a really low standard, to be honest, for calling a recall election. I do agree there should maybe a higher bar set for a recall petition, but as I've said before, if you're sat in an area with a really awful politician and you want to get rid of him, 10% is not that high sometimes. But of course, they're using the percentage rather than the actual numbers. So you are really talking about the total number of constituents in that area. So if you're in a city and you've got well, let's take my own town. We've got a population of 25,000. So what's 10% of 25,000? This is where I have to get out the calculator now. Hang on. So yeah. So 10% in my own hometown, if someone wanted to do a recall petition of Dan Jarvis, 10% of 25,000 is 2,500 signatures. That's what they would need. Thank you very much to Tim Davis, Mackie Pye, Patrick H, and Christine Cash. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your quick maths response there. So they say, oh, 10% is too low, but 10% here in my hometown is 2,500, and to get 2,500 signatures might be quite a lot. It might actually be quite a really hard, tall order to try and get, but it depends on the MP. It entirely depends on the MP. Remember, Momentum back in the day tried constantly doing recall petition to get rid of what they said were these right-wing, Labour MPs, when maybe they just didn't agree with Corbyn, and that was just made them right-wing. Or that is, again, we won't go into that today, but that's potentially what you might need to do some of this. And you are right, Pretty Bird. I don't know if it's actually registered voters or it's the total number of population. But even then, like I say, when they're saying, oh yeah, percentage, depending on what the percentage of is, that might be quite high. So while I do sort of agree with him that voters should be able to more easily trigger a recall petition or a by-election if they want, I don't really say that the maybe the rate shouldn't be raised, because it depends on that. So it really does depend on what this goes on by. But you are, like, as someone said in the chat, it's 10% of what exactly. And if it's sort of the population, getting about 2,500 signatures can be sometimes quite hard. Momentum, for all their huffing and puffing they did about doing recall petitions, I think they only ever got 3. They were only successful in actually getting 3 recall petitions, and then they actually didn't succeed in those recall petitions, those elections that they triggered, because then it had to go to the actual membership of the Labour Party in that area, saying, well, we've got the numbers to trigger a recall election. Do we want to go ahead with it? And most of those areas didn't want to go ahead with that particular recall election at that time. So, it's quite hard. It really, really is quite hard. He makes it sound very like, oh, you can trigger a by-election really easy. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. This is someone else has said in the chat where it is. Yeah. Sphinx Cat. Yeah. That 10% can easily be filled by Labour and Lib Dem voters. Exactly, but it's 10% of what? I don't know if it's it might be registered voters, it might just be people in that area. It's like I say, it's collecting those signatures, and that in itself can be real difficult. So where are we? So yeah. So were such a change to actually have an effect, the voters of Mid Bedfordshire, who are effectively unrepresented at present, should have a choice to presently denied them. For they would be able to trigger a recall petition and then a by-election with a new higher threshold reach. One of 2 outcomes would at least follow. Either a petition would begin, triggering the necessary threshold reach, in which case a by-election would follow speedily, or it wouldn't be. Perhaps there would be no petition at all, or there would be one, but it would reach the necessary number of signatures. At any rate, the voters of Bedfordshire would tell us something interesting to know. Either that a significant percentage of them want rid of Nadine Dorries, or that however many do or don't, not enough actually want to rid of her to impose the fuss and bother of another by-election on their fellow constituents. They would rather get unrepresented at least until 2024, whenever that general election comes. So it's to be honest disappointing. It is disappointing, to be honest, that Nadine Dorries still hasn't gone. I forget how many days is left on the on the Doris counter. Did anyone of them make a clock of that? No, no. I'm quite disappointed actually. This is a no one's made a clock. I can't believe that. No one has made a clock of counting the moments since Nadine Dorries said she'd resign and she hasn't done it. That's disappointing. That's a wasted moment there. That's a wasted moment. So I think this will continue. When is she going to quit? Who knows? There's a lot of speculation that apparently she's going to do it right in the middle of the Tory conference. I think she might just hang on till the very end. To be honest, I mean, what's she going to lose? There's no one really forcing her out. Yeah, the count like what Flitwick Council has sent a letter saying, "Hey, can you go, please?" We're not getting represented, but who knows? Maybe Nadine Dorries will eventually get a recall petition triggered against her. It's highly possible, but we'll see what happens with Nadine Dorries. I think sooner or later she will have to go. Sooner or later she will have to go. It's just a matter of who maybe gives her the push sooner or later. Yeah. Maybe just someone plant an oak tree the day she announced she resigned. That would be a more accurate measurement at this rate. That's very true. That is very, very true. Yeah, there should be a way of stopping an MP's salary. Yeah, I absolutely do agree with that. And I've said before, the next election, I think Starmer, if he went, oh yeah, we're going to sort of reform like the code of conduct for MPs, we're actually going to make it a proper written document that if you're not following this, you're going to be sort of more strictly punished. I'd be fine with that. Starmer is still very, very much on the stopping second jobs, not allowing MPs to have a second job, which I think would be very, very good, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. It's getting like the episode of Blackadder with the rotten boroughs. Yeah. Yep. Just one voter with a colossal vote of 25,000. And of course, Colin the Dax Hunt. So sooner or later, she's gonna, I think, be facing a lot of pressure to go. The question is just when will she go, and when she's gonna get the idea that hey, you need to go. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Doris, that's for sure. But yeah. So, as always, everyone, thank you very much for joining me this morning on yet another rainy indoor good morning walk. But like I say, thank you very much for joining me, of course, this very nice day. Like I say, lots of interesting things going on at the moment. Trump is going to be an interesting one to watch. Like I say, we're waiting probably at this moment for the police to go and see Dan Wootton. I don't know if they've gone and seen him or not, but like I say, when they do, that was when things will get interesting in that regards. And then, of course, the Republican debates in November going to be interesting to watch if it's Trump v. Christie. That's going to be spicy for sure. And then, of course, over here we've got Rishi Sunak's continuing do nothing, deliver attitude. I mean, I got the call right on that they were going to stop the Brexit checks again, probably for another year, at which nothing will change again. So they will probably have to kick them down the road again. We'll see. We'll see what happens on that front. But yes, like I say, it is, of course, summer, and sort of politically things over here tend to be a bit slow, unfortunately. But hey, that's the summer holidays, as they say. But as always, have an absolutely fantastic day. Like I say, it is absolutely tipping it down everywhere apart from Europe, of course, where apparently it's a massive heat wave. I've got a friend in Malta. They're having power cuts continuously because of the heat that's over there. Meanwhile, it's just non-stop rain over here. Oh, thank you very much, Cathro G. Thank you very much. No sign of Sunak removing the whip. Yeah, exactly. Sunak could actually do that if he wanted to. You are very, very right there, Catho G. He could, if he wanted to, remove the whip. But as I've said before in the past, Sunak is just such a weak prime minister. He won't dare do it. He just won't. He just daren't do it at all. We've seen this countless times, even under Boris Johnson, where he could have legitimately got rid of Boris Johnson on like 3 or 4 different separate occasions for all the stuff that Boris had done and being brought up. He could have gotten rid of him, but he chose not to. You know, he even abstained on the Boris Johnson vote of should he be punished over the Partygate. He didn't even vote on that. But then, like I say, he wasn't alone on that front. But like I say, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's been an absolutely fantastic good morning walk before. Good morning walk as always. Of course, unfortunately, the British weather has denied us doing the going out walking. Of course, like last time. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Weather for next week will be good. And as always, thank you very much for coming and joining me. Like I say, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. Like I say, all that very much helps. Yep. Thank you very much, Maggie Pie. Yep. Sunak doesn't want to upset the cultist. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I do very much agree with you on that front. He is very, very much so. They don't want anyone who's strong. And I think if Sunak had put forward a stronger front, they would be probably trying to maybe put him down a lot harder than I think they would at the moment. But as I keep on saying, he's just a completely weak prime minister. But as always, like I say, thank you very much for everyone for joining me today. Have a fun weekend. If you can't be safe, be sensible at least, as we always say. Have a great weekend, everyone. And of course, hopefully we'll see you next weekend where we'll be out in the wild as normal. Of course, weather depending. But of course, as always, have an absolutely fantastic time. And of course, watch out for more videos we've got coming out this week. And until then, we'll see you all very soon.